Hello, everybody. Welcome to Make It Monday. We are back this long weekend. I know I didn't do a pre-scheduled post, so I hope that didn't mess too many people out, but I figure let's still go ahead with it. It's a good reason to get down in the studio because honestly, I have not crafted all week since the last Make It Monday. Can you believe that? Actually, no, that's a little bit of a fib because I did come down here yesterday trying to fix my glasses. They all look crooked. Maybe it's just the stripes. Hello. Whoever that is, you're coming up as Facebook user. But welcome. Yeah, so I didn't get much crafting in. However, I did come down yesterday and get some samples ready. When I say samples, I mean the paper sample for the Let's Go Fishing bundle, because I'm starting to work on that project and I got a little bit motivated and took some things in to go get laminated today. So it's coming along nicely. Hey, Suzanne. However, a little sidestep, because my dear daughter last minute has decided, yes, she wants a grad party. And so all of a sudden now I've kind of kicked myself out of carnival mode and kicking myself into graduate mode because her grad is on the 1st of June, which is not this week coming up, but the following week. And so needless to say, we've decided to have the party on the 3rd afterwards. So now I have to start thinking grad stuff. So I figure why not create something tonight, because some of you might know some grads. And maybe some of you know grads, graduates who are going to be already leaving university or post-secondary. So maybe you can be inspired, get some cards ready for when you need to hand those out. But also, you know what, maybe it's just the idea and you can use it for something else. So I know that there'll be some tips and some inspiration ideas for everyone. So I hope you all had a great long weekend. Maybe just kind of put in the chat what it is that, like, maybe one thing that you did this weekend that you were super happy you got to. Sue, you've got a granddaughter graduating. Oh, perfect. Have you already made her grad card? Although not that I'm going to get to do a full card, because I realized prepping for tonight, well, you know how I prep, right? Literally within the hour before going on. I don't have any shaded spruce, like none. I don't even have any in 12 by 12, and Kira's colors are shaded spruce and smoky slate and black. So I'm going to have to, do something a little bit different. No, but you did make one tonight. Okay, cool. Well, you have to take a picture and show it with us. Share it with us because we'd love to see it. But I am excited because I want to play with some new products. So although I have not, but it's not for her. Oh, okay. Okay, so I am just going to put the camera down and show you some new fun product I just had in my mind last week, actually, and thought, you know what, this might actually work. Okay, for some reason my camera's not picking up. Here we go. Okay, so let's see my little messy table. I need my little vacuum here. Oh, and I need that light. I need to get Tom to reinstall that light because it's still pretty dark, but hopefully you can still see it. In fact, look I got lots of ink here. Hey, and this is something I did. This is what I'm super excited about. I got myself a little pump bottle for my rubbing alcohol so that, when I'm sitting here talking with you guys, I don't have to go pull out the big bottle and possibly spill it everywhere. I got myself one of these little pump bottles. Whew, as it goes splashing everywhere. But that way I can just kind of wipe my surface when I get adhesive and the ink on it, just to give it a quick wipe. So there's one tip for you tonight. If you guys have a surface like mine that is, I don't know, it's kind of glossy. It's not a countertop or anything. So it's a glossy paper backdrop that I have glued here. Because look at how the dirt and the glue, ooh, yuck. Okay, but it's all nice and clean now so that I can show you what I'm going to play with tonight. So I figured it's a good night to pull out the circle sayings. It's something that I purchased for the pre-order, but I haven't actually played with it yet. Does anyone own this yet?
some of you probably pre-ordered it also. I figured it had some really cute, simple sayings, although none of it is specifically for our grad, but there's celebrate, there's, smile today because you're awesome. I think there's some words that we can use to put it in there. And it comes with a circle punch. So Stampin' Up! Finally brought back a circle punch. I don't know if you can see. It's probably better there. It's 2 3/8. And I know they had brought back the 2-inch punch, and I think it was the 2 1/4-inch punch as part of the online exclusives, although I'm not too sure they're still in there or not. I'd have to go and search. I haven't searched lately. But I figured this is what we're going to play with. And with the holographic trio, did I show you guys these last week? I can't remember. Oh, a secret sister card. Oh, yeah, good idea. Although now you probably just spoiled it. Oh, well, maybe they won't pick up on it. So I just cut in 4, the 12 by 12 sheet of the trio holographic paper. And I just looked up the colors because I'm trying to figure out what might go with Kira's party, because I've decided not to do it in her grad colors, but to do it in a variety of colors, which is kind of rosy per se, but along with some blues and blacks and golds and silvers. But this is Berry Burst with Starry Sky combined. So it's actually really cool. It's what you're seeing on the screen is basically true to what the foil is. It's really cool. Then we've got some of this holographic paper. And so this has kind of got waves in it. It's very spacey, goes with that space collection we have. And then we also have just your standard holographic paper. So I figured we could play with that a little bit. And then the other thing I want to play with is this paper pumpkin kit, which I want to say that when I searched, I could find it in the store. So something tells me this might still be available for purchase. And this was the little gift card holders. I don't know if you guys remember. I did do something with them back then, but we've got some sleeves. Oh, here's the polka dots. These are the ones Kim used for one of our team things and for the little lime boxes. It's super cute. But these are wraps for around the gift boxes that come as part of this paper pumpkin kit. That was, what month was it in? Oh, it was December. And so anyways, there's some grad pieces in here that I thought I could pull out. I didn't realize there was wraps, so that's cool because I can use those for something. But there's also these little tiny little grad caps, because there's not a whole lot geared to graduation in the catalog, sadly. But you know what? We will make it work. And then, of course, there's some labels and all kinds of cute little taggy things that were in this box. So I'm going to probably tap into some of this. Not too sure exactly what, but I just really, really liked the words that came as part of this. So good things come in small packages. You did it. Graduation. Although I'm not too sure, you'd have to say happy graduation, I guess. I guess the happy's over there. Happy graduation. Cheers to forever. Like there's in special delivery. There's so many words that you could use for grad, but it's intended maybe for a baby or just congratulations. So anyways, check that out. When is that kit? Oh yeah. Did I say that? December 2022. So that was just this past December. Okay. So that is also what I hope to be playing with. Oh, it came with a garden green spot, but I'll put that aside. I like to use those in little kits for people who are new stampers, although they work perfectly when you're on the go. Okay, is that it? Okay, so the other thing I'm going to play with, I just wanted to show you, if you go back a couple of years when Riley graduated, I did do on Just for the Love of Stamping a graduation theme there as well, where I shared money, like a money card, as well as a scrapbook layout and some other cute things. So go and check that out. I'm sure you could do a search in Just for the Love of Stamping for grad, and hopefully something will come up, but it was 2 years ago around this time as well. And I went through and shared a bunch of grad stamp sets or things that I thought would work for grads. And I just realized that I must have given them all away, or at our year-end blowout, our year-end bingo, I must have given a lot away because I have none. But the ones I do have or have kept since then was this one. So maybe you have it in your stash. It's called Slim Sayings. And you know, it's got enjoy, you're one of a kind, you really are fabulous. Those are all good that you could probably use. And then it has congrats to the graduate, which is really cute. So that's probably why I kept this, and it's not in my pile getting ready for a BOGO. And then of course we always want the year on some of the projects. So these are some of the old stamp sets that I've just hoarded because they're really good numbers, and these are actually pretty big. So this is shown, I wonder what percentage it's showing at. I don't know, but they are actually a whole lot bigger than what they are on the front. So those are huge, huge numbers, which, you know, doing things for the backyard, planning a party, I might want bigger numbers on. So you'll probably see a few other posts here in the coming weeks of fun things. And don't forget, what I'm doing for graduation, you could also incorporate for an anniversary or any other big event. These were some fun numbers, morning posts they were. And I just like how solid they are in the font. So I haven't got rid of those. And then these are some old ones as well. It's just different. And again, no, these are actual size, but it's something different. So I've hoarded those. So who knows, you may see some projects with that. But for tonight, along with those items, I figured, well, maybe we'll take a look at days to remember. This carried over, thank goodness. I realized though there's no years in here. And so this stamp with all the numbers, this is actually one big long stamp. So I was thinking on one of the projects that I have, I'm going to actually stamp this on black with embossing powder, like with clear embossing powder, and then cut out or punch out. Oh, hey, Gary, you should join us. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Her husband calls us a cult. We're a crafting cult, apparently. Do not like being termed that. I'm just sharing ideas for you guys to craft with. Anyways, so I think that is going to work good. They're spread out apart. And if you have the itty bitty punch, so I still have the 3/4 inch punch is my, no, 1/2 inch punch actually is the smallest one I have. But even like the large book punch, like the standard hole punch, I think will work. So we'll play with that. I'll test that out tonight because I realized on the project that I did test out and make, I didn't put a year on it. So we'll want to do that. And then this very best occasion, this was one that was in the last catalog, or maybe it was in the last holiday, but it's carried over. And I think there's some cute things in here. Again, nothing specific to the graduate, but sending you smiles for every moment of your special day. That might work, right? Or you're the best ever. I think that might work. And then we've got Greatest Journey, which I never used. So this was from the last mini catalog. I'm going to use the paper as well today. And then this stamp set, because I just really like this moment is the start of something great. And so I want to use that on one of my projects. Hopefully I can get to it. And I think I just picked these up accidentally. Okay. So now before we get going, of course, you guys, I'm a mom. I got to brag. So this is my moment to brag. Dear Kira, I told her since I'm doing grad stuff, I have to show you guys her grad pictures. So they had these, like, I don't know, as part of the kit, this portfolio that we could then put a sample of all her pictures in. And so this is what they were. So this is that shaded spruce. And she got to pick a couple of poses, which she was so excited about. And as one of them, they got to bring a prop. And so her prop that she brought were her Mickey ears, because many of you know she has been saving for years now. We're going on 3 years for her grad vacation. And so she's gotten jobs and done all kinds of little things to save to go on a holiday. So anyway, she wanted to incorporate that in her pictures somehow. So thanks for letting me share them with you, because you will see, I'll have to make a scrapbook page as well using them, but I'm not going to do that tonight with you guys, I don't think, because it'll be too long. I'll just share these 2 projects that I have in mind, and we'll go from there. So let's start with some designer series paper. I am going to start with I actually don't want pink paper. Well, oh boy. I gotta find the color I want. I want to use this kit. You know what? Let's use this one. What's on the back? Yeah, since your colors are shaded spruce, pardon me, I feel like it's got to be partly the same colors, right? So what I'm going to do is I need to trim my paper down. So I'm going to make a little fun money envelope card sort of thing. Actually, it's a money envelope. What am I kidding? We'll have to figure out how to turn it into a card. So one thing I learned, maybe some of you know this already, but I was like, how have I not realized this up until now? When I take my 12 by 12 paper and I shove it in, except I see I got a cut there, so I'm going to do it this way. When I shove it into 6 by 6, when this is closed, when your little ruler is closed and snapped in all the way properly, when you shove this in, it actually has a guard that stops you right at the 6-inch mark. Like, where have I been, you guys? Have I been in a cave? Have I been hibernating? But anyways, apparently 6 by 6 is automatic when you have your ruler completely in place. I guess I'm so used to having it partly out that I've just never, it always went over and I was always like backing it up. Anyways, today was one of those days. It was all in place. So I am trimming my paper down to 6 inches by 7.5 inches. So I am going to have to pull this out. 7.5 inches. Okay. Okay, so for today, you guys, you're going to want to use the hashtag grad with a small g, hashtag grad. And I'm going to give you guys a sampler of that hollow trio paper. You're going to get a 6 by 6 inch piece of paper of each of the 3 colors. And something else, one of the projects. Maybe I'll give you the supplies to make a money envelope, and then you can turn it into whatever you want, the money card. Okay, so I cut that. So this was 6 inches by 7.5 inches, okay? And then I'm going to score it at 3 inches. 3 inches, and then again at 6 1/8. So not the first little notch. It's going to go basically right up to where the white ends. So 6 1/8. It's a little harder to tell when you don't see the measurements, but 6 1/8 is there. Okay, so we got 6 inches by 7.5 inches, and then scored at 3 and 6 1/8. Okay. Oh, and before I put this away, I'm going to take the other piece that I've cut out, like that was part that we didn't need anymore. I am going to cut myself 2 strips at 1 inches. So you need 2 strips at 1 inches. And then you're going to cut it, not cut it, sorry. You're going to trim it. Not trim it. You're going to score it. I still need to trim it. This is why I messed up. You're going to score it at 1/2 inch, but I'm also trimming this down to just under 3 inches. So we're just going to trim it to 2 3/4. And same thing with the other one. I'm just going to score it at 1/2 inch and trim it to 2 3/4. That might be a little too short, but we'll find out at the end. I'm sure it will be fine. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to put that away. And now we're going to use our bone folder. And we're going to, whoa, except I started folding it in the wrong spot. Now, you might want to decide which one you want to be the front and the back. Look at how nice that is with the mountains. I don't know if I want to hide it by putting it as my envelope. But if I do it this way, it's upside down. So never mind, it won't work. It has to be the inside, sadly. So if you've got pattern paper where direction matters, definitely pay attention to how you're scoring it because now I just hit all that pretty mountains. Oh, well. Okay. So there is my little money envelope. Cute, right? But we want to make it so that we can actually put money in it. Now, I didn't actually test. Oh, shoot. I didn't make it long enough. Yeah, of course. Okay. Hopefully you're not making this with me. And if you are, turn this into a birthday card. We're going to set this aside and you can just make a standard birthday card out of it because we need to make this wider. So now I get a second chance. Not with that same piece though. Okay. We're going to use some trees. Okay, so let's trim this. Now, in order to make a bill fit in this, it's probably gonna have to be 7.5 inches. Let me just make sure. It's a little longer. That's a lot longer. Maybe 6.5 is all I need. But then by the time I put those things, yep, that should work. Okay, so let's do 6.5. Now it's only because I'm putting in one bill. You might want this wider if you're putting in like a wad of cash. I'm not that nice. So what did I say? 6.5. So we've cut that down to 6.5. And I'm going to trim this. I'm still trimming it to 7.5. I still want the same thing, but I do want to pay attention to which direction my thing is going because if I wanted, but because it's folding over, I don't want trees. I'll use that as the inside. So 7.5 is still good here. Trimming that down, and we're still going to score it at 3 inches and then at 6 1/8, which remember is up at that white piece. There we go. There. And I still need to cut 2 pieces of paper and I need to trim them down to 3 inches. Although we did that to 6.5. Oh, that was just wide, so it's still the same distance. So I'm going to just trim these right to 3. Remember last time I cut them a little shorter? We can always trim it with scissors if it's too long. Okay, so we're scoring at 1/2. So you get to see me whip these up again. 6.5. Okay. Pull out the bone folder again. Now remember when you're folding with your bone folder on designer paper, because it's thinner, you do not want to press too hard or go over the scoring a whole lot. Otherwise it'll crack and possibly tear. Okay, so we've got our 2 little sides here and they match. So I needed to fold them so that they match the outside of my envelope. And what I want to do is this piece right here is I want to glue these. I want to glue this onto here like so. And you see it is a little bit bigger and that's okay. I'm just going to trim a little bit off with this. Because ideally, there, that fits. So I'm going to use my Tombow. You can use your seal too. That'll work. In fact, I think I'm going to use my seal because that'll take just a little bit too long to dry. And this is just as thick. And so what I want to do is I want to put that lined up to the side. But remember, before I glue it down, though, I wanted to make sure that it didn't go up over top of this lip, right? And so that's why I trimmed it just a little bit. And so when I go to test this one, when I put this one down on the side before I put adhesive on it, I don't know if you can see, because I did it right at 3. It's a little too big, so I'm just going to snip just a little bit. And then same thing, I'm just going to put some adhesive on, line it up. So now what I'm doing is I'm making a little accordion, and this is going to make it easier to put the money in and out or whatever else you're wanting to tuck. Did any of you have coupon books? Maybe you still do. I don't know if they're still a thing, but I remember growing up, my mom had coupon books and they all had these little accordions in it. And they'd always rip off because we'd fill them so tight. But anyway, so now that that's there, I'm just going to put them down and I'm going to close that up. And then just like that, now you've got a little envelope where you can put a little thicker things in. Okay, so that is a great way to make a little envelope and then have your money just slide in. Yeah, that's the perfect size. So it's 6.5 inches wide, which is perfect. Okay, but I'm gonna grab my corner rounder because I feel like these edges, they're just a little too harsh. Hopefully most of you have a corner rounder. This is an old one Stampin' Up! Used to sell. There's a few variations of them, but I'm just gonna slide that in right to the corner and then punch, and then see, even by doing it that way, it all messed up. So I'm just gonna tuck it in underneath like so. There. Lovely. Okay, now let's find something else. Ooh, does that little wrap actually fit on here? Maybe that wrap fits. No, it's too small. That's okay. We're gonna pull that out. We're gonna pull some pieces out of this kit. Something is bound to work. Okay. Just love that. I think that's cute. So I think now you could always put glue on there if you wanted. So here's another little tip for those of you who might not know. With your multi-purpose Tombow glue, it is white, and when you put your glue on and you seal it, it is a permanent adhesive. However, if you use your Tombow and you put it on your project, so for instance, this short one that I did, let's fix this one, and I will actually do it so that you can see what I'm talking about. I'm just going to snip the corners though so that they are all ready to go. And what I'm going to do is take my Tombow, and we don't like to lick envelopes, right? I don't know if any of you guys are like me and you use your water brush or your water painter. So when I put that on there, I'm just going to use my finger just to kind of spread it around. Now, we can let that dry and without adhering it to anything. So when we wait and we let it dry, it actually becomes a removable or a repositionable adhesive. So in case you didn't know that, there's a fun tip for you. You can definitely reuse it. So I'll just let that dry and I'll show you what I mean afterwards. Okay, but now we need to find something to turn this into a lovely wrap. I think we need a belly band is what I'm trying to say. Well, we can pull out these mountains. That might make a lovely belly band. But then it's almost like another layer. Ooh, yeah, it could be a multi-layer. It doesn't have to be a small one. We've always done belly bands as small ones, but maybe instead we do a big one. Oh, I'm loving this. Okay, because it's such a beautiful scene and I don't want to waste it. So what I'm going to do, oh, except I'm still wasting it anyways by tucking it in behind. Ah! Okay, well, that's okay. I didn't quite bend it enough to make it hurt. We're going to bend it over this way. And I'll go back in and I can score it. Well, actually, we can just use this to score it as we're bending it through. And then turn it around so that this bends in this way. Okay, you know what? We need our music. Okay, so then we have that, but we don't need that much of this left over. So I'm just going to trim off, I don't know, maybe 1/2 inch. So from where the score is, I'm going to move it into, well, let's do 3/4 inch just to be safe. And now we've got this beautiful scenery that we can use on a scrapbook page or on as a card front. But now, trying to see how that is. Okay, here we go. Here's the front, or maybe we don't want the opening at the front. Maybe we just want this one at the front. Oh my gosh, I love this. And then that comes around so that way we can use the beautiful greenery scenery. Okay, I'm loving it. So now what I'm going to do is just use my adhesive over here to put it down like so. But before I do, I want to do something else. You guys all know, it's like I'm doing this as we go, right? So I'm sorry if this is so confusing. Hopefully no one's watching the whole thing from the beginning or like trying to create along with me, because that would be a mess. Only because I keep changing my mind. Okay, so on this little bend, I am going to close this, right? But we saw that there's this little gap at the bottom. But instead of having the blue water, which doesn't really make sense at the bottom of the trees, let's just glitz this up a little bit. And I'm going to add this strip. It's a 3/4 inch strip of the holographic paper, although I did not stick it properly. And then we're going to mount that down. Wow, I guess I have to put adhesive on the back, but won't that look lovely? A little bit of shimmer? I think so. So I told you that we're doing the grad party. Well, apparently it's going to be with a disco ball. Disco ball theme. Okay, so now that I have this, I got to untuck it so that I can trim off the excess foil. I'm just going to turn that over. There we go. So it's kind of like a chocolate bar wrap, right? It's a big one instead of a narrow one, but it's because we have such a beautiful scene. But we could always make that a little smaller. It doesn't have to be so big. It's just that this pattern that I used on the paper, because I realized I actually don't have a whole lot of the new paper yet. It's got a little bit there. Oh, I think that's so lovely. Okay. And this is where it's going to come in, where we're going to use our big celebrate, our circle punch. I think there's so much that we can do with this. I realized I didn't pull any white paper, so give me a sec while I grab that. We don't have our music either, hey? Let's put on some of our tunes too. Hopefully it doesn't make anyone go to sleep. And speaking of tunes, I don't know if any of you guys listen to Spotify, the app. That's what Kira and her friends all use. Well, I pulled up a playlist, so you can pull up a grad playlist. And Spotify has their very own. But what's interesting is it's so smart, right? This is that artificial intelligence doing its work, in that my playlist for grad is completely different songs than Kira's playlist for grad, even though it's the same grad playlist by Spotify. But it picks up and listens to the music to get to know the genres you like and the different things, and then it pulls the songs from there. So it was absolutely fabulous. It was great music. Like, even though it was my playlist, Kira still loved all the songs. So I'm looking forward to kind of playing that here later on. Hey, Marilee, welcome. Hey, Joanne. Okay, so let's get some stamping in. Now, like I said, Shaded Spruce is the Vimy Colors. I'm not too sure why, but hey, so be it, because all of their team wears are black and gray, black and white. But apparently green, maybe it's because of the forest. I don't know. Everything's like kind of outdoorsy there. So I'm going to just stamp Celebrate in green, because I'm sure it'll turn into something fab. I just figured it would be good. Like I said, I honestly don't know what I'm doing with this, so we're winging it. What should we put on the inside? I think that you did it. I don't know. I just really like it. I like how thick the font is. But I think we might need to do that in some black and then cut it out and pop it out. Right? We always need pop-ups. You did it. Again, I did that tap, tap, dab, dab, because this is the harder ink pad. Now, I didn't put the foam mat underneath. Hopefully it's okay. Whew, it is. It actually worked pretty good. And then I'm wondering, now I know this is gray, I could probably even color it with a marker, but then, oh, over the top of the U did it. Oh my gosh. Let's use the black dimensionals. Grad is a good excuse to use those. I seem to only use them at Halloween. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, and we're gonna have to use the Wink of Stella on it. And make it a little sparkly. Oh, wonder, do I have to color the tassels green or does it just stay white? You guys will have to help me out with that. Okay, so I think that green's dried enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that circle punch. So this is the one that coordinates with it, the 2 3/8. I'm just gonna slide it in. Like so. That's perfect. And then I'm going to take this out. You know what? I think this is gonna, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm going to cut this to shape and then we're gonna mat it with some black cardstock. So all I'm doing is just kind of going over all the words, kind of like the shadow effect. Okay, whoops. Okay, so I need to find my scrap. I've got some scrap paper here too. I'll probably make a few of these envelopes because I'm really liking how easy they are. You know what? I cut this lid wrong, so let's just use that. And then I can trim it out. So we're going to plop that there and do some trimming. Okay, so although I tucked that money in, so one of two things. You could take this envelope and you can go ahead and tuck it into another gift somehow, or you can make, you can just make a card to tuck in to write your little note on it. Or you could wrap it up as something special and then make a standard card to go with it. And in fact, that's what we'll do. We'll do a dual, it'll be a dual thing. Okay, I did a really crappy job doing that, but you get the point. I think it works. Oh my gosh, totally works. And it's bold, it stands out. Apparently I can't pick these things up. I need my pokey tool for these. I'm not too sure why I don't have it out using it. Okay, there we go. Now I'm questioning the gray though on that. Does that work? Or does it go on the U? Oh my gosh. Okay, but I'm just gonna mount this directly on here. Does it need, I see I don't have, ooh, but I do have shaded spruce with the backing of that paper. Let's see what shaded spruce. So I happen to also have the 2, this was 2 3/8. I have 2 3/4, I thought. Oh, but it's 2 3/4 smaller. Anyways, I can't find it, so I guess I don't. So we're just going to be mounting this as is. But I feel like we need some ribbon or something with it. So here's something else. I'm gonna grab the cord. Let me see if I have some gold cord. Have I used all my cord? Okay, apparently I've used all the gold cord. I've got silver, lots of silver, but the party's gonna be silver and gold. Nah, you know what? We're just gonna leave this flat. It doesn't have to have all the bling. I'm still undecided with the Grad cap because the cap, well, you know what? The cap is gray, but there's the holographic underneath, so I think it still works. I just don't know. Should I put the hat on the O? I guess that's where it's going because I don't really know where to put it. There. You did it. Something simple. You slide it off. You can open it up and then you can put a little note. And in fact, why don't I cut that right now while I have everything out? We will trim down a piece of this. Now, because this was 6 inches wide or 6 inches long, or 6.5 inches long, I want to make it a little bit shorter than that just so that it's easy to tuck in and out. So I am going to make this 6 inches. And then we had that envelope is 3 inches. So you know what? It can still be 3 inches. I think that's fine. And then that way we can put a little note in there with it. Should just tuck in there. I guess it's probably because I need to make sure that it goes within that little accordion that we put. And then we may want to put a little tab so that it pulls out easy, right? So here's a piece, you know, it coordinates, the purple doesn't, but if we close it shut, that's okay. So I think what I'm going to do is, this is one of those pieces that's scored in half, and I'm just going to take my scissors to make it a little bit smaller. And then we will use our corner punch as well. Actually, maybe instead of that, what I'll do is just take my paper snips. I'm just going to snip, straighten off the corners just to make it look like a tab of some sort, something that's not so perfect. And then we'll take this, put the little tab on it. Let's use a stapler. Staplers are easy. And then you can write some advice to the grad, or maybe this is from a whole big family, or maybe it's from some co-workers. What can we write on it? Let's see what else is here. Oh, you know what? Let's put the happy graduation while we have it. See, this is why I love these paper pumpkin kits, actually, is for the stamp sets, because they seem to have a lot in there that maybe I don't normally find in the regular stamp sets, right? I'm just going to put this in the bottom corner. Whoops, except I made it crooked. Oh well, good thing it's for my daughter. She knows I'm a crooked crazy person anyway. Okay, and then, ooh, except I don't want the birthday. I want the one that says graduation. And so now that I've, you know, figured this out, I may have to do something, make a little gift for a few of her friends. But I'll tell you, the next thing I'm going to show you how to make is super cute. Yeah, that's a little better. Happy graduation. And then there is a congrats. That I'll put in here as well. Just because you have to say congratulations, right? And we'll put that in the color Shaded Spruce. To spruce it up a little bit. And where do I want that? You know what? It's just going to go right in the center. So when they pull it out, it's what she sees. Congrats. I still can't believe I did that crooked. Boo. And then, you know what? If you wanted this cute little pack, it does have little stars and stuff on it. So you could add a few stars around there. Or some gold stars. I don't think I want to add those to this just based on the color combo that I've gone with, but I think that that's super cute. That is even just enough like this. It's just something else. I can put some words in, and then in behind is the little cashola. Who doesn't love some good cash? It's a good way to kind of get started on their next phase in life. Okay, so when you put that tab on though, make sure that you can still close your envelope, because apparently I didn't measure that very good. I need to put that down a little bit more. Whoops. Oh, well, good thing it's down lower, so the staple holes are going to hide. So it's not the end of the world on my part. Could be worse. Remember, learn from my mistakes. I love that I'm able to help you. All these little things you want to make sure. Okay, there we go. There. Still a little, I don't know. It's there, and then I'll turn it around just because I want the clear, like the clean side to be the front. Okay, this shouldn't be so tough. When you go to wrap it, I might have like tightened this just a little bit too much. I made it fit too exact. You might want to make it a little bit looser, again, depending on what you're putting inside. Plus, I'm putting it in and out a whole lot, showing you guys, which I shouldn't, and I will be moving it a whole lot more too as I go to take some pictures tomorrow and post it, but I think it's cute. And then, of course, you want to add some bling. You can add, like, these adhesives. That's Tranquil Tide, or even some white ones. I think I'm going to use the white or the iridescent ones because it'll pick up on the hollow that's down below. We're just going to add a few of these randomly just to give it some bling. Bling, bling, bling. Okay, excellent. One project done. So I hope you liked that gift card or the money holder. Because again, you could do that for birthdays. You could do it with a whole lot of things. And remember, like, look at the cupcake. That would be great as a birthday money holder. So I'll have to play around and make one of those as well. Okay, so next, I'm going to show you how to make a cute little box, a grad box. Again, I'm super pleased. It turned out sweet, sweet, sweet. I'm just going to grab the cardstock. Oh, but remember I said maybe we can wrap this up in a little box? Okay, before I go. The pictures, or that envelope, that portfolio up here is grad pictures. That's what I'm trying to say. Came in this like absolutely beautiful black box. And I mean, I know some people will probably store their folio back in the box, but I won't, because we will never look at it if we have to take it out of the box. Like, I just know that. So why not reuse the box? So like I was saying, some people don't like to just give a card. Maybe you want to wrap it up with a few other things. So why not put some tissue paper, maybe like some candy, or even rocks, depending on how funny you want to be. And depending on the theme, like this is very nature and outdoors, so I totally could fill the bottom with rocks. Just have this set on top with some tissue paper. Oh my God, I think that'll be cute. In fact, now I think I have to go do that. And then, of course, just make a fun, either a tag or a topper on the box, and it'll be good to go. So I'll play with that. I won't do that on here, but I just wanted to share with you that's another idea as a fun way to wrap it. Okay, so now we are going to play with, do you remember this paper from Celebrations a while back? It is back inside the new catalog, but it's back with, Celebrations had just champagne color, but this new one is called More Dazzle, because the other one was called Dazzle 6x6 because it was the champagne color. But this new one also has gold. So you've got champagne and gold, which are perfect for grad projects, like super shimmer and shiny. And you know what? I'm going to throw one sheet of each of these in with the hollow sheets for whoever wins the hashtag grad draw. But anyways, I'm going to play and feature that on this project. And then we've got two pieces of black 12 by 12. And I've even pulled out some old goodies. Do you remember these brads? These were like really big, thick rounds. I still have these. These were from so many years ago. I'm sure you crafters have something like it. I've also gone ahead and pulled these old tassels that we have. And again, I know some of you are crafty souls, and if you don't have these tassels, you'll know how to make little Grad tassels. That's way too much work for me. I will never make myself a tassel unless someone shows me how super easy it is. So instead, I'll use these old Stampin' Up! Ones. In fact, I'm going to use the little maroon one, I think. I'm just going to put that aside. And also, I want to use some gold cord. This is the silver cord. The new catalog has the silver and gold combo pack again, which is great. But I seem to have used all my gold, but I have a little piece here. I think that that's enough for what I need, or I'm hoping it is, just because it goes with my little tassel gold thing. Okay, super cute. We're gonna make a box. I'm so excited. Okay. Now, again, I know some of you might not be making grad projects, or maybe you will be in a few years from now. So you'll go back and refer to this video later on. I hope to also post it in YouTube. Actually, I have to start doing that. For you heart stampers, I really should put the links in there for you, because I do have a lot of the videos in the heart stampers group there. So that might be easier for you to go back and find later. But again, you can always just search in the group, or if you're looking for something, you can just ask me, say, hey, I remember this. Where is it? And I can go dig for it for you. Okay, so our 12 by 12 paper, we're going to make a box with the first one, but I want to trim this to 9 by 9. So I'm trimming this paper to 9 inches by 9 inches. And then I'm going to go ahead and score it. We are now going to score this at 3 inches on all sides. So we're just making our very own little box. And like I said, even if you're not doing a grad project, you could make this box for a birthday box. And in fact, you know what? I think it'll fit a cupcake perfectly. So if you're someone who likes to bake and wants to gift that would be good. So I've got that, but I also need another piece of paper that I need to cut to 5 by 5. I'm going to use, I'm just going to use another 12 by 12. So I just want 5 by 5. And then I want to score this at, I'm going to score this at 14/15. Has anyone ever scored at 14/15? Does that make sense? Basically, what it is, it's one notch before the one. So just right before the one, I'm scoring all 4 sides, the one notch before the one. So 14/15. On all 4 sides. Okay. And then I'm also going to pull out some of this beautiful paper, some champagne paper, and I want to trim it in half. Well, actually, I am going to trim it in half, and then before I cut any more, I'll show you what's happening next. Okay, so I'll set that aside. Let's build our box. Oh, I need I'm back. I don't think, did it disconnect you guys? I don't think it did. That's so weird. Okay. Yeah, I know, right when I'm showing you guys the box. But good news is I am back. Hey, Kim. You could hear the music. Okay, see, so that's one good thing to have the music playing. I better put it back on. Yeah, that was so bizarre. Apparently, the surge on the power bar went, and so it was just causing grief. Thank you, Tom. He's always the one saving the day. As I'm freaking out here. Okay. Whew, back at it. Now I feel kind of just showed you guys that. Okay. Of course, joys of tech. I was just saying to Tom, we have to find a way to make a permanent solution here, because what happens is we all keep using the cords, right? So it keeps going up and down, up and down, up and down. And so there's too many of us that use the same cords and run out and need them, that things just keep moving. Anyways, we figured it out. Okay, except I need my paper snips is what I'm looking for right at this moment. So I've just scored, like we went through, we've scored everything, and now we want to do some trimming. And certainly the paper snips that I've been using all night are right in front of me. Yes, I put them away, they're just hiding underneath things. So I'm just going to go ahead and snip my box lid. So like I said, even though you're not making grad projects, you can make little birthday boxes, or you can make little party favor boxes. And what I'm going to do is use my Stamp and Seal. You can use your Tombow, that works too. But I'm just going to put it on each of these little ends. Whoops, I put a little too much adhesive on that one. Hopefully that'll come off. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put the end shut like so. You want to make sure that you line that up right to the edge so that you have a nice looking edge. If you got a little bit of excess glue, rub it in so that it hides underneath that, like so. And then I know some people like to really make sure it's nice and crisp. They trim this down like on an angle, but I don't want the angle on this. But again, if that's how you're used to making boxes, you do that. This works for me. It's just nice, it's straight, it's clean cut. I am just gonna go in and, trim off where they might be a little bit higher. But there is my box, the lid. Because now I've got the base of the box to do. So same thing, I'm just folding and scoring around all sides. And I'm rubbing or burnishing. I keep wanting to say varnishing, like I'm polishing something. And then you will use your paper snips or your larger scissors. I just find this easier with full length blade scissors to cut up to the center. So on each of those, 3-inch marks. And then on the complete opposite. So don't do the side. You're going to turn it as a 180. And cut up to that first score line. Like so. So there's two ways that you can close this box. You can fold the sides in like so, and just adhere them shut, and then add your last flap. Or you can turn this into an explosion box. You know what I mean by an explosion box? I'll show you. Since I did the other box as a full-fledged one, what you're going to do is take off each of the corners. You're just going to snip it right off. So again, only the corner squares. So you don't want to do all the squares, just the corners. Like so. Except now that I'm turning this into an explosion box, I have to think of something else to do with it. Now you're gonna make me, now I have to really get creative. So these just have 4 sides, like so. But now that we have this lid, the lid just goes on like so. And then when you open it up, poof, you can have nice messages for someone. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and put a message in on the bottom. I want to pull back some of that hollow paper that I had. What did I do with it? Okay, we're just going to use some of the standard, and you know what? I'm going to cut this to 3 by 3. In fact, I might make it just a little bit smaller, just so that I'll just do 1/8 or 1/16 smaller, just so that it takes into account the score lines, like so. And I'm going to have that at the base of my box. Was that small enough? Oh yeah, that works. But oh, you know what? You could put a nice message. I was thinking I want to put, let's see, I'm going to cut a piece of paper to 2 by 2. Actually 2.5 by 2.5. And we can put a lovely little grad message, something that's inspirational that they are going to see when they open up this box. Now, if I choose to do this by putting something over top, I don't want to waste this hollow paper with a full 3 by 3. I will punch a circle out in the center so I can use it for something else. That's just, you know, it's just who I am. Because this is beautiful paper and we want to get the most out of it, but I think I want to leave a message. So I'm going to take the 2-inch punch and I'm going to try my best to center it. It's not going to be perfect, but I think it'll work. Oh, see, look how bad it was. Hopefully I cover it. Okay, it still covers it. Whew. Because that would have been scary stuff if it didn't. It wouldn't have worked in my favor, and then I would have wasted it, although I'd have to find something else to use it with. So again, I'm just putting that right in the center, and then I will end up putting this in. Now we got to find those stamp sets that I pulled out that I wanted to use as part of this project. And I think the one with that saying, I'm looking for the, oh boy, what's it called? All covered with my paper. Greatest journey. That's what I'm looking on. This moment is the start of something great. See, I haven't even used it at all yet. And I bought it for that courage that was in it. I never used it. Oh, it's okay. We're only halfway through the year. Almost. Hard to believe. Okay. Yeah, look at it. That'll be fantastic. Now to make sure that I stamp this correctly, we are pulling out the mat. We're going to need this anyways. So let's pull out the black ink. Put away the circle punch for now. Pull out the black ink and let's ink this up. So this moment is the greatest. No, this moment is the start of something great. I wanted to turn that into some other quote. Not too sure what I was doing. What I was thinking So I'm going to go ahead and just push that, let that sit, let that ink go in. Now this is a brand new stamp set, so I'm hoping ink sticks good. It's okay. It turned out okay. Okay, so now I would also like to put some extra color in there. This moment is the start of something great. I feel like start could be kind of brought to light a little bit. And I'm going to use the green. Ooh, this is someone else's though. Because I'm using one of those other color tassels, I want to use some mauve. So I'm going to go, this is the start. So I'm just going to highlight that with the blend. And that is the mauve color because you guys saw that tassel. Oh, I have no idea where it went right at this moment. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and mount that into the center of our box. Now, you're going to want to put your to and from somewhere as well. And who knows, maybe you're going to make a separate card than this. Maybe, maybe you're going to put in a gift with a different tag. I'm just going to leave it at this for now, and I'll decide what I want to do if I want to decorate the edges anymore. But what I want to show you is this. I'm going to take my little box and I'm putting a hole in the center because we want to go ahead and make a little grad cap out of this. So I'm poking that in like so that I get, oh, I don't know if you can see that. Yep, a little paper hole. And remember I said I was pulling that gold, that piece of gold string. There it is. I am going to go ahead and thread that through this little piece. Now it's probably got to come up quite a bit because I want to put knot in it. So I'm going to go ahead and triple knot this. And I want to triple knot it with as close to the bottom as possible because I've left with just a very little bit of this trim. I need to order myself some more. So, like so. Okay. So, also, don't forget, you guys, to register for Creative Carnival if you haven't already. The registration link, hopefully I pinned it to the top of Just with Love of Stamping and Heart Stampers. I hope I did. Thank you to those of you who have registered already. Definitely looking forward to it. And if you're not part of the Creative Carnival YEG group, go and join that group. You can always message me or text me for the link and I'll send that to you. I'm going to do one more just in case because I had one that didn't quite go to the same spot. I just want to make this thick so it doesn't pull through that hole. Except of course now I want to do that last one and it wants to be its own little knot. Well, geez. Okay, you could add a pocket for a gift card. Yes, great idea, Kim. Great idea. In fact, maybe that is what I'll do. And I'll give this one. I'm sure there's someone else graduating. I'm just not thinking right now who it is. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm going to pull that through so it can't come through, right? And now I'm going to string my little tassel that I've made right there. And remember those brads that I pulled apart? I'm going to go and grab one that might work. So although these aren't the colors I'm looking for, right? I can use my blends to color it. So I'm going to pick the cream color. And I am going to go ahead I'm going to try, I want to make sure that that's, oh no, just a sec. I'm missing a step. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I need to pull back out my piece, and I am going to take like a piece of the scrap that we had, and I'm going to cut it down to 1 inch. So this is 1 inch by 5 inches. 1 inch by 5 inch. And I also need another piece that is, we are cutting this down to 3 by 3. And in fact, I have the scraps. Remember when we cut those corners off? I have some 3 by 3 pieces already. Okay, so that. And what I want to do with this is the same thing as I want to put my center through. So that's not where that goes yet. I know some of you guys will pull out your ruler. You will find exactly where center is. I'm winging it because that's just what I do. And now this 1 by 5 inch, I'm just going to use my bone folder to curl it. See, like that. And I'm going to go ahead and put some seal just on the tip because I want to wrap this around like so. And I'm giving myself a nice little formed circle so that it looks like a base of a hat. You're following? I know it's all kind of crazy, but now I'm going to thread that through here like so. But I need to still try and glue this down a little bit, and I am going to use my Tombow. Now, ideally, I should get my glued gun out. In fact, I did get it already, but I think it's sticking just fine with the Tombow, so I'm going to stick with the Tombow. And I just want to put adhesive on the bottom, just all along the ring. So I just want to be careful not to like overflow it at all, but I do want it over top. If I get too much, don't worry, it will dry clear. I don't really want it on this part. I strung it through. Usually I don't string this through until after. Darn it. That's okay. There we go. And now I'm just guessing where center is. So I'm guessing where center is, and I'm mounting that to the center. Just take all that glue off there. Okay. And now that that's there, I'm going to now mount this through this part, the top part. So if you wanted to leave a little hidden treasure, you could leave this open like so and put a little hidden treasure in here and not seal the top at all, right? I was considering that, but I decided no, but you know what? Maybe you're someone who likes to play little pranks or little tricks on people. So you could always put nothing in the box and have the gift in there. But I'm not going to. I am going to seal that shut. So I'm going to just poke this. I'm going to thread that through that little tiny hole. That poke hole is all I need. But you see, just like so. So I am going to move that out of the way, and I am going to put some adhesive here to let that dry. And so anything you do have to glue, you try and get that out of the way first so that you can let it sit and dry so you can do your thing. In fact, as I'm doing this, I realized we probably should have did this part after the next part, but again, I'm sure when you're like, if you're making this, you're probably doing it in a few steps, maybe overnight. I am putting it on a little bit of an angle. And so, yeah, see, I already did the steps wrong because now how am I supposed to get in with my brad? Oh boy. Okay. I shouldn't have glued that down. I could easily pick it up if I wanted. I'm going to just try and see if I can push it through here because ideally, can't can't believe I did this all backwards with you. I did the top first. There we go. Oh, it does fit nicely. And then I'm just going to turn that so it aligns with there, and then I'll just trim it. So you're going to have one gold leaf sitting there. And then I'll just take some sharp scissors. Those ones aren't that sharp. And it's just going to kind of dangle. It's stuck. But ideally, I mean, this is all glued down. That isn't really coming off. If you wanted to, I could have taken this off and redid it, but I didn't. So there is the little grad cap, except see, you're still seeing all the white right now. Let me show you the other one I did. Well, before I do, let me show you the next step, because I can't like let you see all the secrets. Okay, so let's close this up. You're just going to put the hat on or the lid on like so, right? And so now we've got this lovely little grad cap. But I'm going to use this glitter paper, and I'm going to use some blends. Now, darker is better, just because I want it to absorb in, because I want this one to match. I don't remember which color purple that was. That was one of the colors way back when, but I think this Moody Mauve kind of coordinates with it just nicely. And so what I'm going to do is use this, and I'm going to just kind of color from one end up. And we're going to change this glitter, or this, what's the specialty paper called? Anyways, we're going to change this sparkle to be that of Moody Mauve color. And I want enough to make 4 strips that are 3 3/4 inches. So that is why I'm coloring a big piece of it. I mean, if you only wanted gold showing because the gold matches that, you could use the gold paper. And in fact, that probably would be very lovely. But because I'm wanting to kind of match it with that, I was using that. But now that I say that, I'm like, no, I kind of want to do it in gold. So this one I'm going to do in the gold. Now that you saw what I was doing with the beautiful Moody Mauve, now I'll have to make something with that, but I don't know. I think this gold is lovely too. And then, like I said, we're trimming that down to 3 3/4. And you want 4 strips, 3/4 each. And then what I want to do is I'm gonna, like I was saying, probably should have done this beforehand, because I want to tuck these in so that it's adhered on the inside. And in fact, this time I'm going to try and use my double-sided sticky strip. I tried to use the combo and I was not happy. It took a lot longer to try and hold, and one of them did fall off. Granted, they all seem to be sticking just fine now. But I want to try tear and tape, but of course, as I'm saying that, I don't have any in my little containers here. Still in my boxes waiting to be unpacked, so I guess I am using this. I am using a lot though. I just want to use a good chunk. I'm not being stingy with my glue at all, which is probably part of the problem, but I'm sticking to just, 1/4 inch up, and I'm tucking it in. And wherever the first one ends up lining up, that is ending up to be how far out I want it. So basically it's like 1/2 inch that's showing to give it a little bit of glitz when it's on the box. Oh, so that tassel's rich raspberry. Thanks, Kim. So there's one. We'll do this around all 4 sides. Yes, Kim has already gone through this once with one of her kids, so she probably has some ideas for grad cards. Although she will have to do it again one year soon. Okay, I'll end up posting a picture of this completed one. I'll show you the one that I have done. Now, I was saying I realize I don't have the little year on it. And in fact, I think we need the year on the tassel and not just on the box. So that might require some finagling. But I will take pictures and you will see what ends up happening. Okay, so this also looks like snake print. But I'm very happy that we have the shimmer paper because it looks like disco balls. And in fact, anyways, I've got some ideas in my mind. Got to see what I come up with this week and next, so stay tuned. You know I will be stamping. See, look, there's one that fell off. Darn it. This is where I wish I had paper clips or some little clips to help. Now this is the issue. Oh, see, now they're all going everywhere. Darn it. I'm gonna have to sit and play and leave this alone and let this sit and seal. You may need to use a glue gun, a hot glue gun. So I did pull mine out. I just chose not to use it, and I may have to go back and do that. And so I'll go back and finish this card. I want this to dry a little bit before I play with the lid. But let me show you. I'll put the lid on here. So I did this one with white tassel. And because Kira's colors are green, I used the shaded spruce to cover or to like do the lid. Now I like how that opens up and explodes and it's got the hollow. I think that'll look cool with the gold. And then for this one though, I had sealed it all up so it was a box. So you've got your two options. You've got your explosion box, or you can turn it into a regular box and then just load it with a lovely little gift on the inside. So I hope you like that little project. Like I said, I gotta just finish it up, put the year on, and then tomorrow I will post some pictures to show you what that ends up looking like. I don't want to put that on the box yet just because there's still some glue that needs to dry, but we will get those posted with pictures so you can kind of see some fun grad things. So I hope you like those two projects, and like I said, I will be working to put together a grad party here over the coming weeks, and we'll definitely share with you pictures and all those fun things on all the different channels. So you'll probably find it on Just for the Love of Stamping and on Instagram, and we'll go from there. I will turn you back. Does anyone have any questions? As I was trying to find, oh, except you know what, I can't see you, so that isn't gonna work. Okay, I'm trying to find where that cute money holder is. Look at it, I've already like put it somewhere. Put something over top of it is what I've done. I'll post pictures of that tomorrow so you can see it as well. How can I like disappear? This just makes me laugh. One would think there's only one. I have two hands. I would have put it right in front of me here, but apparently not. You'll have to go back to the beginning of the video and check it out before I post the pictures tomorrow. Anyways, have a great night, everyone. Sorry for all the tech glitches, but I hope you found some tips and some inspiration in some of these projects. I can't wait to make some of these cute boxes into birthday boxes. I think they'll be absolutely fun to make. Have a great evening, everyone, and a wonderful short week. Until next time.